cloud computing, what we're seeing are, you can kind of take a look at, access control with two-factor authentication. Everybody kind of knows about that now. And encryption, everybody kind of, at least in IT, knows about encryption, what you should be doing, et cetera. And should know, if you're listening to Jason very well, that one of the most important things you need to do to protect yourself against ransomware is to make sure that your backups are safe. Because if ransomware hits you, you can wipe the data and restore it. If your backups are safe, if your backups are infected, you're hosed. You're going down. So it's really vital that you make sure you take care of that. But here are the other threats that we haven't talked about, or we don't talk much about in cloud computing, which is DDoS. How many remember Amazon going offline a month and a half ago for 2 days? That was a DDoS attack. Not against Amazon. Do you know how it happened? It was a DDoS against DNS. They shut the DNS servers down for the east side of the United States by DDoSing them. And as a result, nobody could get to the sites. We got to fix that. That's a serious problem. You start putting more and more and more of your stuff in the cloud, thinking this is safer and more efficient. We got some problems out there we need to address. How many of you are coders? Any of you developers at all? Nobody? You know what APIs are? You know what APIs are? So do you know where those come from? No, somebody just says, hey, we got an API for that. Okay, cool, and you connect. You have no idea who wrote their code. There are no standards for API development to make them secure. They're horrible. They're big gaping holes in the supply chain because, again, you also might be, trying to think of an example, if you purchase a service from a company who's purchasing their cloud stuff from AWS, okay, they got their stuff set up here and then they create their API, but they're actually hosting all that stuff in AWS. What happens if AWS goes down? You've lost your provider. They can tell you all day about how good they are, but if AWS goes down, they're out of business. There's all kinds of problems in that. Open source libraries. If any of you work with development teams, you know that using open source libraries is really popular right now because it's free. Hey, cool, there's a little library file, and you'll get that. Woo! And I fix my code, and I don't get in trouble with my boss because my agile scrum completes on time, right? Except in 8 months, that library file is not upgraded anymore. Somebody quit support on it. Now what do? You got an application that's in production, you got clients connecting to it, you're using it for e-commerce, and your library file's dead. What do you do now? You're in deep trouble. You got big exposure there. Which all of this goes to poor coding practices. That's really a lot of what we're talking about here is poor coding practices, key management. So any of you know about crypto shredding? Ever heard that term? Cloud computing. Crypto shredding, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, crypto shredding is the idea that if I have stuff up in the cloud, let's say you got an Office 365 account and you leave your company and they delete your account. Do you think your data's gone? It's still in the cloud, isn't it? So now, this is another company over here, they get in trouble with the FBI. And the FBI comes to your provider with a search warrant and pulls all of those drives. They now have your data, and you got no say-so over it. Crypto shredding is the idea of me holding on to the keys, not my cloud provider. So that when you leave, I delete your key. So it doesn't matter who gets it, there's no way to decrypt it. Sally May, I did some work for them a couple years ago, and Jerry Archer, who's their CISO, who's a really brilliant guy, former CIA guy, did that with Microsoft. He went to Microsoft and said, you're going to give us the keys to everything. You're not going to hold anything, or we won't do business with you. Microsoft said, sure. But the reason being that way, if somebody wanted bank information, they have to come to Jerry Archer to get with a warrant. They can't access it by accident because they had a warrant for somebody else, and your data just happened to be still on that drive. So key management becomes super important when you're doing cloud deployments. E-discovery issues. What if your data's in Ireland and you have a legal case and you want to sue somebody or they want to sue you? What if it's in Ireland? What if it's in Germany? What if it's in Australia? You got 3 different continents rules about how you can access that data. Does the US even have the ability to send a subpoena to Germany? Good question, huh? Do you know where your data is today? How many of you got Office 365 accounts? Do you have any idea where your data really is? Don't care, really. Yeah, don't care, it works. But you got to think about those things as a business owner. How many of you know about GDPR? the new EU rules on privacy. Those have just changed. Safe harbor doesn't work the same anymore. And there's also a changing compliance landscape to deal with. GLBA in banking, Sarbanes-Oxley in publicly traded companies, HIPAA for healthcare, and GDPR for companies who are doing business overseas over in the EU. All of those complicate the daylights out of cloud computing and making sure you keep your stuff safe. How many of you know about the right to be forgotten? You ever read anything about that? Nothing? Really? So the EU has a new rule called the right to be forgotten. And if you're a cloud provider, and I go to you and say, you know what, I want all my data gone, okay? You're required by law to not only delete it, but to find it. So you have to know where it's at all the time. It's going to be a huge financial burden on European companies. But I can actually go to you, and it can't cost me anything. The rules are really clear. All the burden is on the provider. If I say I want all that data deleted, they have to prove that it was deleted properly. Interesting stuff, huh?